I knew that the Boy Scouts tied knots. I knew that they had a pledge and they were supposed to be brave and courageous and thrifty and clean. But nowhere on that list was there this kind of sadistic and prank pulling that I discovered at scout camp. We arrived at scout camp. I mean, all these kids who joined around the same time I did, 2 weeks away from home, and about half of us were homesick already. I mean, even on the bus. So we got there, and immediately the older kids began to tell us, well, you know, you got to go to the bathroom like early in the evening. If you go out in the middle of the night, the Willie monster will get you. Willie monster? Yeah, lives down inside the latrine. And he'll reach up and grab you and pull you in. Oh, we've lost all kinds of scouts that way. And so all these kids, you know, we were supposed to feel comfortable in the outdoors. By the end of the first day, we're terrified. The other thing on the list that they didn't mention in Boy Scouts was storytelling. So we sat around the campfire, and our junior assistant scoutmaster, Jasmine, Sheldon, would tell us all the Bill Cosby stories that he recorded on LP records way back. And they were wonderful stories, and Sheldon told them verbatim. And it was storytelling, it was rehearsed storytelling. But they saved the scary stuff for late at night. Our scoutmaster was carrying on a tradition at 10 Mile River Scout Camp, telling a story about Dr. Cropsey, who had gone off on a special call. He lived somewhere in the area. He had gone off on a call, had come back to his house, found it burning, his wife and children inside, burning to a crisp, and there were scouts standing right there not doing a thing to help him. In the story, they turn out to be blind, and he doesn't know that. He goes rushing into the fire, is burned horribly, and then goes out to the forest, jumps into a creek, and the only thing he keeps with him is his burned tatters of clothes and a very sharp axe. And now he wanders the woods. And so scouts who go out on nature hikes, especially when you're just one or two late at night, fall victim to Cropsey. So the story went. Now, our scoutmaster, in order to impress upon us how bad this story was, how scary it was, had made some arrangements. And so we're sitting there, like half the kids there like can't sit still because they've got to pee, and it's too dark, they can't go to the latrine anymore. And they're scared to death and they want to go home. And he's getting to the point where Cropsey is about ready to come out of the woods and swing that axe and take somebody's head off, when one of the other senior scouts comes running in, jumps over everybody's heads and lands in a pile on the ground right by the fire. And he's going, oh, Cropsey's here! And he's covered with catsup. And so we're all looking at this and our jaws have dropped, and the scoutmaster hops up and says, all right, quick, someone get the first aid kit. And we look, oh, pressure, and tourniquets. But as he's working on this guy and smearing ketchup on his face, his face changed. And he got more and more serious. And then he's and they brought over a stretcher. And an honest to gosh ambulance shows up at our campsite. They're roads, service roads. An ambulance shows up. This kid's packed off in the ambulance, and we never saw him again. Well, as it turns out, we found out after we got home that in his zeal, he had jumped over the heads of his fellow scouts, landed on a bunch of rocks, had broken a rib, torn a muscle. This kid, he never came back to our scout meetings because we played dodgeball. You could get killed if you weren't paying attention, let alone being wounded. So that summer I didn't learn how to play pranks. I was the victim of the pranks. But I'll tell you one more thing about this. That summer, my best friend Mark, who got me into scouts, was up on the top bunk over me in our lean-to at night. And when he was ready to lose it, I could hear him go, and when you're 10, 11, it's not a very cool thing to start crying. I said, hey, Mark, want to hear a story? And I told him stories that my sister told us. And as the night wore on, his crying stopped, his breathing calmed down. He went to sleep. But I could hear this on the side of the lean-to because the kids next to us had been listening. They said, hey, what happened next? So after a summer of pranks, I came home and experienced Boy Scout and a storyteller. And that's a true story.